Hello, everybody. This is Ming Chen,
Hi, I'm Mike Zapsik from AMC's Comic Book Man.
and you are watching AFK, the AFK show, our favorite show on the planet.
One of.
One of. So you're watching the right show. Keep watching, and keep watching.
And keep watching. And keep watching. Don't stop.
And everything that's kind of coming down the pipe if you're a Flash fan and stuff like that, and what kind of things. So I do my panels a little bit different. I don't really care what you ask me. If you ask me about my brothers or whatever like that, everyone's like, oh, I got a Strictly. But I mean, sometimes people go off top. Sometimes they'll start talking about wrestling, and I'm like, I'm not a wrestler. But anyway, so yeah, if you guys have any questions, just throw them out at any time and stuff. Otherwise, I just ramble because I can talk about me all day long, and that's selfish. Yeah, exactly. So, as you know, I played the Weather Wizard. Or you don't know, I don't know. And I've been in. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, and you know, we just got some good news recently. Have you guys seen the pilot? Have anyone seen the pilot, the flashback? Yes. Have you watched it yet? Okay, so no one's seen it. Oh, great. Okay, so no spoilers here. The leaked one, right? Yeah. So basically, you guys are all familiar with Flash, I'm assuming, like the actual character. So, so I play the first and main villain, the Weather Wizard, and he's one of the Rogues, which is a group of villains. And if you watch the pilot, you kind of see what happens to my character. And we just get some good news about a week or so ago at San Diego Comic-Con that the character will be throughout the whole season. So yeah, it was like, you know, not too many people, you know, you get a phone call saying, hey, you're working, all of that stuff, which is cool. But if you've seen the pilot, you also realize that there's actually two. I play a character named Clyde Martin, who's a Weather Wizard, and a Weather Wizard in the pilot. But in the comic books, it's Mark Martin, who is his brother. So there's actually two Martins, and it's the twins. And so basically, what they did is, in the comic books, Clyde Martin creates a wand that can control weather. And Mark Martin finds him dead, and he takes over this wand and he creates his own self as the Weather Wizard. Now, there's different stories where Mark Martin actually kills the brother to take it over because Clyde wanted it for good and Mark wanted it for bad. There's lots of different stories, but in the comic books, you never ever get to see Clyde Martin. It's like one page of him lying dead on the floor, and that's it. So what Jeff Johns, who creates Flash and writes for them, and Andrew Kreisberg and Greg Berlanti, who do Arrow, the show, what they're doing is they're using Flash as a really good avenue to introduce a lot of characters that aren't like household names, you know, which is normally done through TV and stuff like that. Unless you're a big comic book fan, you know, you don't really ever get to know a lot of these characters. So they made Clyde Martin a whole background story and actually made him the main villain. Now, fans were right away, you know, oh, well, I mean, fans don't like to be messed around with their characters. So when they found out it was Clyde Martin and not Mark Martin, you know, kind of things went off. But if you just keep watching and if you've seen the pilot and stuff, they do mention that it's the Martin brothers. And then they announced a little bit ago that Weather Wizard will be throughout the season. So I don't know what they're doing. I hope I'm working. Anyway, so Weather Wizard will be whatever they decide to do. I'm excited because I'm actually a fan myself. So and it's in good hands with Jeff Johns. And then I'm excited because I've never been. They're gonna kill me. I've never been a huge Flash fan like growing up. I was always a Batman guy and that, so I had to really look into Flash and see what it is, and I didn't realize that he was that big, that he had his own city, and that he had like just a swarm of his own villains. And so I looked into it, and when I realized how big it was, I was really excited that they were introducing in this show, as opposed to Arrow. Arrow took about a season and a half to really get going with big villains and stuff, and so they're going right out of the floodgates. They've already announced, so I can talk about it. They've introduced the Weather Wizard. They got Gorilla Grodd, things, Reverse Flash. They just cast Firestorm. They got Killer Frost, Vibe, and they just announced a couple days ago. And there's more. And Captain Cold. They just cast Miller from from Prison Break. Sorry. So they got like big villains right out of the gate. And the good thing with that is people are like, oh, well, if you give us everything right off the bat, we're not, it's going to run out. And the thing is it's not, because they are using Flash as an avenue, like I said, to introduce other characters. So they even announced a creation of this other character who was very small named Girder. So they got villains that people haven't even really heard of. And the way they've done it in the pilot is that they have an origin story that can be related to everyone. So you don't have to be used and like knowledgeable about the comic books to understand. Otherwise, I mean, they have to make it realistic so the audience can understand. Otherwise, people are going to be from planet Zeptila or whatever. And it's not realistic, especially when you're doing a crossover show with Arrow that is very realistic and no superpowers. So I'm pretty excited because the crossover alone is going to be really good because like 2 days ago, they announced that some of the villains that have already appeared on Arrow are now going to be battling against Flash. They had a villain named the Clockmaker, who's played by Robert Knepper, and he's going to be teaming up with another unknown villain, and they're both going to be taking on Flash. And then they got even better crossover things, where I think episode 8 or so, it's actually called Flash versus Arrow, and basically, I think what they're doing is they're doing a special on both shows, and in order to get that episode, you have to watch both shows. And it's a very smart marketing tool. Stephen Amell, who plays Arrow, he appears even on the pilot in a couple episodes. So it's a really cool platform that they're using. And the good thing about that, and I think as a fan I like it, is that I think it's only a matter of time before Arrow starts getting those superpowers as well, because they're starting to cross platforms. Yeah. So any questions? Sorry, just guys. Sorry. Thanks for coming, guys. Just throw out questions at me and stuff. Right.
For the beginning, at least.
To keep the show separate.
Right. Yeah, so that they have their own feel.
Yeah.
Is that's generally what's going on?
Yeah, well, they have a huge. I mean, the feel is completely different. But I think what it is that, again, and you even see it in the trailer. They have this thing called the particle accelerator, which kind of gives people the origins and stuff. And that happens in Central City, though. Sterling City is Arrows, so. That was an easy way for them to explain why the two cities have whole different feels and why they're not there. But with all the cross-platforming, I would assume that it's only a matter of time before some of the characters from Flash start going in Arrow, and like I said, vice versa, which is already happening. So yeah, but they're two totally different feels. Arrow's a very dark DC type show, and Flash, even in the comic books, has always been the brighter kind of character, and they're giving that feel to the whole show. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Jeff Johns is a very good guy to have writing, because he creates those characters even in the comic books. So when people like that have creative control, you're in good hands. So as a fan, I'm pretty excited to see what I don't think they're going to mess around with the characters too much. Yeah. So, like I said, superhero fans, they don't like being messed around with too much. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Okay, so I'll just keep talking then. So with the Weather Wizard, a lot of people were talking about why Weather Wizard isn't the green and yellow Weather Wizard that you see in comic books. And again, I think it's a smart way of them introducing characters in a modern day way, that it's not that they just get these powers and all of a sudden they find this kick-ass tailor. And right, and so they released a couple photos actually not too long ago for Captain Cold as well. And normally Captain Cold is like wearing an Eskimo outfit with these cool glasses, and they basically just shown him, he's got a shaved head and his hair is all frosted. And like I said, when you have Jeff Johns on board, they introduce them differently, but I would imagine that it's only a matter of time before you start getting the Deathstroke looking guys from Arrow, like when they actually start looking and evolving to what we know and love in the comic books. So, so when we did the Weather Wizard, DC's gonna kill me. I got the role, and then I went into wardrobe, and I really wanted the character to look like the Weather Wizard, but Clyde Martin, thank God, has never been portrayed before, so I got a kind of a blank slate with him, but I wanted the green and yellow, you know, because I was a fan myself. So I went in there, and they gave me green and yellow, but they gave me a green and yellow rain poncho, which is just this massive baggy thing, and I couldn't make it look cool if I was, you know, Brad Pitt. There's no way I was making this work, and my character actually does a lot of like crazy movements with my arm, and because I have like the weather going on in me, so if you see the pilot, like it's always moving, but this poncho was just a big blank green and yellow thing, and you couldn't even see my arms, you couldn't see my legs, nothing. So when I seen it, after I stopped crying, I went into the room with David Nutter and Andrew Kreisberg, and they said, "What do you think? And why are you crying?" And basically I said, you know, you guys have me doing these action scenes, and I understood their concept because my character, they're basically bank robbers who live out on a farm, and they're kind of yokels in a way. And so it kind of suited the character, but you could barely even see my face. Like, it wasn't even one of those cool hoodies. Like, it was those ones that, you know, mom used to tighten, and it's like all over, you know. And so I went to wardrobe before I went into David Nutter and Andrew Kreisberg, and I worked out a different outfit, which you actually see in the pilot with the wardrobe. And then I put the poncho over top, and then I went in there, and they're like, "Well, what do you think?" And I was like, "Well, honestly," and I took it off, I was like, "This probably looks better." And they're like, "You're right, it does look better." And thank God they allowed us to use that. But that being said, I didn't want to piss off fans too much because I was not really doing the green and yellow thing, which is I wanted to. But that being said, Clyde Martin's not Mark Martin. So that's why they were talking about Mark Martin or the Weather Wizard going to be continuing. And like I said, with Jeff Johns, I'm sure we'll eventually get spandex. Like I said, I don't know what they're doing with Weather Wizard, man. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. Right now, we're just kind of going. It's a per episode, so we don't even ourselves know what's coming down the line until we get the script. So whatever they do with it's okay. Whatever they do with Weather Wizard, whatever it may be, I'm in good hands. Like, you know, Andrew Kreisberg, Jeff Johns, Greg Berlanti. It's the first time I've ever been on set where I'm in pretty comfortable territory, so to speak. Yeah. Anything else?
Did you really cry?
No, I never really cried. No, I was. The thing is one of the best things about acting is when you get a role. Wardrobe is one of the coolest things because that can help you get into a character really cool. So, but when you go in there and you have something that's just absolutely ridiculous, it kind of like brings your excitement down. You know, it's like going to high school and your mom's like, you know, you're wearing Ninja Turtle sweatpants. That you're like, oh, let the bullying begin, right? And it was just kind of like that. So when they allowed me to do it, thank God they listened and you know. It does. Well, the character is really weird movements. So and David Nutter, who was the director, really wanted that. And which was so when they gave me this poncho, that it was literally like it was just a big, like I was wearing like a blanket. You couldn't see my arms or anything. So I was like, well, you just took the entire character out of the episode. And so when I explained it to them and I did the movements with them in this thing, you couldn't even see anything. So so that was the main reason. I was like, well, you basically just did this to my character. So and thank God they listened, because some people don't listen. That's the thing. Yeah, bro. Thank you, man. Yeah. You guys seen it? Yeah, what'd you think? Yeah, you know what I really like about it is that it's on such a bigger scale than a lot of the superhero shows and stuff too. And the reason I say that is you look at like Smallville and stuff like that. They didn't have the technology and they didn't really have the budget to do the special effects like what they have in Flash. Like you've seen the special, they were almost talking movie quality stuff, right? And normally a pilot, for you who don't know, pilot is the first episode of a show. But they usually get a lot more money for the pilot to sell it and a lot more time to film. And normally you get a week, 2 weeks for a pilot and, you know, 4 or 5 million or so. Flash had double that budget and we filmed for a month. It was March 1st to the 28th, and they were closing down major city streets in Vancouver, Canada. You know, they were doing car explosions right in the middle of downtown. It was so when you're on set and you have something that's crazy like that for a TV episode, and you guys have seen it, and I mean it's so well done, and the special effects teams that they have. I mean, these guys do big things, and the only thing I would say is I hope that. Going forward, all the episodes that don't have that pilot budget don't try to do what Smallville and stuff did, where it's, you know, you spread yourself a little bit thin. And I hope that, and I'm pretty confident that with Jeff Johns and stuff, it's going to be the storyline that kind of carries in, not just the special effects and stuff like that.
Well, I was going to comment, it reminded me like Smallville in the early days on steroids. It was a good interaction.
That's right.
All the actors to me fit perfect.
Right.
Everything worked out good, and then again, the action, everything.
It was really well done. What I like about it as well, they're not holding things back. The whole motto of the show with the producers and stuff is blink and you'll miss it, and they really jam pack a lot of stuff, and that's not just a pilot. People think it was just pilot. It's going forward like it's always so fast, and if you miss stuff, you're TV, PBR, this that stuff. Yeah, and there's so many Easter eggs too. Like, I mean, Andrew Kreisberg, I think, just gets a kick out of it, and he's just like, let's toss this in there, and you know, and he's such a comic like fan. Like, he knows everything, this guy. So even when you see it on set, and you know, he's sitting there laughing, oh, fans are gonna think this is great. And I'm like, I don't get it. What does that mean? Like, you know, and he's like, oh, it'll be great, man. And he's so like, he's a hyper guy, and he's such a cool guy. But and it's really fun for like hardcore fans to just sit back there, and I watched the pilot, and I knew some of the Easter eggs, like the big ones, and like the big Gorilla Grodd one and stuff. And but there's a bunch in there that I didn't even know, and I was in the show, so I read online, and I'm like, that's there, and I was like, yeah, that's great. So yeah, like I mean, even Ferris Air and stuff like that. Like if you guys know about it, and so who knows what kind of crossovers we might get, right? So yeah. Anyone else? So. I'll just keep talking. Yeah. Basically, I was going to say with the character of Weather Wizard, a lot of people that, well, you know, how did you get to that character? And I'm actually, and I mentioned this yesterday, I'm actually a wrestling fan. I've always been a WWE guy, and right now, if you guys want to do some cool research and stuff, and if you've seen the pilot especially. There's a wrestler on there named Bray Wyatt, and he's this yokel preacher, and something just drew me to that character, and I actually studied him for a long time, like all his videos and stuff. And if you look at some of the Weather Wizard talk and banter, it's very along the lines of that crazy yokel type thing. So his name is Bray Wyatt. You guys should check him out. Just like don't watch wrestling. I'm just saying it's even if you just look online, a couple of his interviews and stuff, and he's just an amazing talker. And so when I decided to do that character, I actually auditioned for Flash 7 times. They had me read for Flash because unlike Grant, I look like him. I'm joking. That's bad. But I actually auditioned for Flash, and then I auditioned for Ebor Eddie Thawne. And then they had me read for Clyde Martin. And when I looked into it, they actually gave me sides, which is lines, which wasn't even for Weather Wizard. I knew I was playing with it, but they actually gave me it for a made-up character that controlled fire. And the reason they do that is because for big movies and shows like this, if I didn't get the role or whatever, they're worried, you know, sides in the storyline might get out and stuff. So they create their own characters and stuff. So I went in there to this audition and with creating fire, and I had fire inside me, and that's where the weird movements came, and it was one of those decisions that could have gone very good or very, very bad fast. And thank God that David Nutter and that understood what I was doing, that they didn't, think I was having a seizure or something. And with the element of that Bray Wyatt kind of thing, I think it just, well, obviously it helped me stand out. But I'm one of the only really major Canadians on one of the big casts. The rest are American. And it honestly started getting to the feeling that I was kept getting put through audition because I was Canadian. and I'll tell you what, because normally what happens, you get an audition, then you get a callback, and then you go director-producer session, and then network approval. Now this is CW, and this is my 6th CW show, so once it goes to network approval, I'm like, yes, thank God. But it went to, I did an audition for Flash, then an audition for Reborn, then I did an audition for Clyde Martin. Then I did a second audition. Then I did a callback. Then I did a director-producer session. Then I did a second director-producer session. Right now, I'm like sitting by the phone, just give me the freaking. And then they didn't even go to network approval. They went to American producer approval, and I've never even heard of that before. So and then it went to network approval. So it was about a month and so of auditions, and I talked to Grant and Candace and that on set, and apparently everyone was put through this ring roll of auditions. It was a pretty crazy process that they did, yeah.
Was that in Canada?
Well, they audition in every city. I live in Vancouver, Canada, and that's where I work out of, and that's where they film Arrow, and that we're both on the same lot. But they auditioned out of, I think every city in North America. I mean, LA, Toronto, Vancouver, New York, everywhere. Like, yeah. So, yeah.
So with this TV show, can you imagine it getting so big where other people will be dressing up as it?
Yes. I've seen it actually in Orlando already, so which was really cool. It was very flattering, very weird at one time, yeah. And people were like, oh, what would it be like if you were an action figure and stuff like that? I was like, I will shit my pants. I was like I said, I'm a huge comic book fan. I actually, even just last year before I get the role, I was going to these conventions, getting autographs from everyone. And so I was right there, and so it was very cool to be on the other side of the table. That's for sure. I'm still like I met Tony Todd yesterday. I'm like, hey man, what's up? He's like, go away, and I was like, ah man. But I'm a big fan, and so to see that stuff being towards a character is very cool, and I would imagine it would be just like Arrow and Smallville and stuff like that. Fans are great with superheroes now. I always did it. I wasn't like really a popular kid in school, and so when I did drama and stuff, that was really kind of something that took me out of my discomfort and stuff, and so I kind of got involved with that. And then I was raised in the prairies in Canada, just a small town, and they didn't really have an acting community. So I actually got into modeling right out of high school, and I actually did theater for a little bit, musicals and stuff, which is weird because I'm petrified of singing. Like, that's my worst fear in the history of anything in my life, is to sing in front of someone. And so I did that, and then I moved to Tampa Bay, Florida, actually, for a little bit to do modeling. And that led me into a model and talent convention in Vancouver. It's a weekend of basically agents come and they look at you from every production company. And I happened to win 7 of the 8 events at the thing. And that got me into acting, and I booked a TV series named John Doe, right out of that, right at Ray, and then I booked a feature film, which I'm not going to tell you because I don't want you to see it. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, exactly. It's a horror film called Sleepover Nightmare, and it's I think the only horror film ever that takes place in the day. It's like, oh my God, oh, he's behind the tree. I see him. He's in the daylight. It was an awful film, by the way. And then I thought I was on the top of the world. I was like, oh, right out the gates, new kid, TV series, film. 2 years later, I got another role. So it doesn't. Acting is a very up and down industry, but when it's up, it's great. But when it's down, it's very, you better enjoy mac and cheese. So yeah, kind of sucks. But thank God it's not like that anymore. Yeah. But.
Okay. How did it feel like to be one of the first Jefferson Starshines?
Be the what? One of the what? Sorry. Sorry, you gotta explain that one to me.
Give the reference.
Oh, sorry. I feel bad because I don't watch half the shows I'm in, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah. You were
Explain it to
in
me.
season 6, episode 18. You were
My agent. That is crazy. Yeah.
I'm a big Supernatural fan.
Okay, Supernatural. There we go. Okay, yeah.
Jefferson Starship.
All right. Okay. Well, Supernatural's a little different because I was one of the few lucky actors that actually plays 2 characters in Supernatural. I was in season 6, and season 8 is what normally I'm known for. So when you say season 6, I'm like, you've seen that? Because it was a very, very small role, and it was weird because that episode, 2 of my best friends in Vancouver, we've been trying to get on Supernatural for 6 years, and all 3 of us are actually in that same episode. We all got cast for the same episode, and my best friend actually, if you see the black guy in that episode, we actually play each other. He morphs into me, and I morph into him, so we're playing the exact same guy, and it was really kind of a cool thing. But playing Desmond, who's the guy normally I'm known for in Supernatural, who's a rogue vampire, was very cool because I got to beat the hell out of Jensen, so, which is really cool to do because he's a big boy, and they're like, okay, you're gonna come and you're gonna throw him way down there, and he's gonna go through a tree or a table and stuff, and I was like, and then I'm just looking at him like, you all right with this, right, man? I'm gonna throw you through that, and he's just like, yeah, man. Just talk quieter, man. He's a big guy, and on camera it's funny because when they stand beside him, I mean, and Jared's he's like 6'5". I'm 6'1", and I'm normally the tall guy on set, so when people tower over me like that, but it was very fun, very cool working on set like that. But I had these prosthetic vampire, like crazy teeth, and I was a little skeptical about doing the stunts because I was on a show called Sanctuary, where they gave me these prosthetic teeth, and they had me do a stunt. And these prosthetic teeth, they're not like what you buy at a store, and these are they mold them to your teeth, and they're very hard and sharp, and they're in there, and they don't move, but they're very sharp. And we were doing a stunt one time, and where I was fighting, and I was working with Jonathan Young, who plays Nikola Tesla on Sanctuary. He turns around and was supposed to clothesline me, but what happened is that he actually hit my mouth, and the teeth actually made 4 holes right in my gums, and there was blood everywhere. And the Supernatural teeth were way sharper and way longer. So the whole time I was like, just stay away from my mouth, man. Yeah, so, but it was very fun, very, very cool. The Jensen and I are very cool guys. So. I met Jared, but I didn't get to work with him, but it's cool. Yeah.
I'm a huge Jesse fan.
Yes.
Like,
So am I.
do you ever do a lot of scenes with him?
Yeah, I do. If you watch the pilot, there's really cool scenes. And Jesse Martin is one of the coolest actors I've worked with because this guy's been doing it forever. And the cool thing with Jesse Martin, he's been doing Law and Order forever.
Law and Order, and he was one of the original casting.
And Rent as well. Yeah, exactly. And I'll get to that as well with the musical stuff.
Tom Holland.
Yeah, he's yeah.
And he's in the movie as well.
Yeah.
Reprised his role.
Yeah. So basically, Jesse Martin is he's now just started conventions, and he's been doing this for like 30 some years or something, and he's never been to Comic-Con or anything until now because unless you're on a show that's like convention oriented, you don't go. And so as soon as I got Flash, and started doing this, which is awesome. But I've never seen a veteran actor that is so excited to work on a show. Like he comes in, he's like, I'm just so excited, this is awesome, and then it's just really cool to see someone that's a veteran excited to work with younger actors. And he's such a nice guy. He's a really cool guy. You can learn a lot from him. So it's very cool. And then Rent, I was speaking of Rent, Grant Gustin's from Glee. He's from Rent. Like these, Carlos Valdez, he does theater stuff. These guys sing like very good. And they were joking around about, what if we do an episode of Flash that's a musical? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be in that one. I'll be in the background, playing the tambourines. You're right. It would be a perfect time. Right, but it's also a perfect time for me to take a vacation. Yeah. Any other questions? You can ask me anything. I don't really care. Yeah. Yes. Did you see it?
Yes.
Yeah. A jackass? Irregardless was very. I almost said no to that because that's actually written and directed by Jason Cermak, who's one of my close friends, and with comedy it's different because you read it on paper and it's a whole different thing than if it's delivered properly on set. So when you read something on a script, I didn't think it was funny, to be honest with you. I just didn't because I didn't know the other actors involved. But when we got on set, I could not stop laughing. Did you see the blooper reel as well? Yeah, it was so hard to keep a straight face in this. Basically, if you don't know, it's a short that we did about two gang guys who want to do a deal, like a transaction, but I have bad grammar, and instead of doing the deal, he wants to correct my grammar, and it just gets ridiculous, and it was so funny to film, and I'm really glad that I did that. So, and that's actually was removed online recently because it's getting accepted into a bunch of short film festivals, hopefully. So, and unfortunately, you can't have it online and stuff like that. So, otherwise, I tell you go see it. You can probably find it out there, but yeah. But thank you. That's very cool that you even seen that. You're the first one to ever ask me about that. So, yeah. I always play the bad guy. Always the bad guy. Yeah. Anything else? You could ask me about what's coming down for DC or anything like that. Well, the characters, that's just stuff like that. DC's really taking over TV right now. I mean, they have a lot of shows. I mean, they got Flash, Constantine, Gotham, Arrow, iZombie. I mean, they're really, which a lot of people don't even know about iZombie because it's kind of been shadowed by the four big ones, and I mean, rightfully so. I mean, a lot of people don't even know what iZombie is, and so they've really Marvel currently owns the movie scene, and so it was, I think, a very smart move of DC to take over the TV world and then attempt with Ben Affleck's Batman.
I have an issue with people playing on multiple superheroes.
So do I. I mean, Chris Evans is. I think he's an exception.
But they're not
Yeah.
so.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know. I like Chris Evans as Captain America, but I mean, yeah, I understand like that. Yeah, and I mean the Ben Affleck thing. I mean, it's the Ben Affleck with the Daredevil and stuff was a thing where you think it's going to be cool and big, and then the script and movie just doesn't pan out. Catwoman's another one. You have an amazing actress, but the script just didn't pan out, right? And so a lot of people right away throw Ben Affleck under the bus, saying, "Oh, hopefully it's not another Daredevil and that." But you know what? People threw Heath Ledger under the bus as well. Look what happened, right? So I don't want to say anything bad about him because I don't know the guy. I mean, kudos for him to get the role. I'm sure, honestly, I'm pretty sure with the people behind it, it's going to kick ass. Yeah. Right? Exactly. He's the best Batman ever done. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, that guy didn't even need a mask. Right? Yeah. It's awesome. When's that Beetlejuice remake coming? Right? Yeah. Come on. Yeah. So anything else, guys? I mean, Flash or anything else? But yeah. I'm sorry?
Yesterday, after the cosplay contest, you were facing Brad.
Yeah. What a joke.
You let him win, didn't you?
No. Okay. Let me explain what happened. Brad's story is totally different than mine because he lies. So me and Brad Hawkins, we did a charity thing last night, and they have these big mech warrior robots over here. And basically, no, let me explain. Let me explain. All right. We did practice rounds, okay, and they gave us the robot. I beat him twice. Oh, I beat him in the practice rounds when we were even robots. What happened, no, let me explain. What happened is last night we had to basically trash talk each other to raise funds. And whoever ended up raising the most funds got perks. So they got bigger weapons, they got bigger armor. So we were battling and stuff. And I was beating him, well, he was beating me. And then I was beating him. And then all of a sudden, some guy's like, $85, and he slaps it down, and he was 84. And then he was ahead, and so he got the bigger, badder dude to play with, and so that's why he won.
So you're saying the guy who plays all the bad guys couldn't trash talk the other?
Dude, I was winning, man. I even threw out like Firefly, Jewel State and stuff. I was trying to throw all the tricks in the trade, man.
Because you're like 75 behind.
There was just not enough rogues on my side last night. It was just, so. Thank you, man. But yeah, I just and they gave us different robots. Like the robots we had before, had constant machine guns, and this one you had to wait 5 seconds for it to load. And I thought my trigger. Did you hear me yelling? And then I was like, "Oh, I'm broken!" Like it's yeah. So.
So it was like an even playing field with your one.
Yeah, I took the third win. Yeah. I don't know, man. I have no idea what's. I would love to get in those things. They're really fun. You guys should try that out. It's a lot of fun. So, yeah. Pardon?
I actually walked by an accident, like, if you asked him for a rematch, he's like, he knows it.
Oh, listen to this guy. Still trash talks this guy. Yeah, he's used to reruns and stuff, so he doesn't want a third loss. Anyway, I felt bad with some of the trash talk last night because I just kept throwing it like, are you working? It's old school versus new school, but old school's on a retirement plan right now. So, anyway, but it was good, man. We raised actually, we raised a good lump sum. There was supposed to be a lot more people that showed up, like the guests, but I think we did it. We raised about $400 or something for the charity, which was great for the small crowd that was there. I'm pretty happy with that. It was all good fun, so it was great. Yeah. Who knows? I told them to do it today when there's like more people, but we'll see. Yeah.
So in other words, if they ask you back again and they do this, you're all for it.
I already told them last night. I was up for it. Absolutely. I'm a huge video game guy, so who knows? Maybe hopefully Flash gets a video game. Yeah. Which I think they have the online one right now, and Weather Wizard's actually one of the guys you have to battle and stuff like that. It's a dark-haired Weather Wizard, but can't always be perfect. Such a loser. Anyway. Yeah, please.
I heard with Rocky Mel that he changed his avatar to Firestorm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably. I've had the Weather Wizard already as some of my stuff. My Twitter handle right now is all Flash stuff, and I've never plugged and promoted a show more than Flash, and I've never had a cooler character than the Weather Wizard. A character that it's just you feel badass playing this character. So. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be on and off as the Weather Wizard once they start releasing publicity photos. The thing with DC and stuff is that I wasn't even at Comic-Con because what they do is when they promote stuff, they don't like promoting the villains because they don't like releasing that. It's almost like a surprise to the audience. So who's the villain going to be? What's he going to look like? That kind of stuff. So they try to hold that in, and for the longest time, they didn't even want to know Clyde Martin was the character. They didn't want to put it on. There wasn't on IMDb for the longest time, And as an actor, you want to plug you want people to know you're in a show like that. And so it took a long time, and the same thing. It's really up to them as to how much information they release. And right now, there's not that many photos out of Weather Wizard. If you look at all the publicity photos, even aside from the trailers. There's just it's the same photos. It's just Grant in his suit, and it's there's no Weather Wizard photos. Right, you watch the pilot and you start screenshotting, and I have all these blurry photos of me out there. Yeah, it's because I move faster than the Flash. I am blurry. No, I'm joking. Actually, someone made me a shirt last night, which is really kind of them, and it said, "You can keep running. You're just gonna die trying." Right, what? Oh no! It's I kept it. It's I didn't just leave it there. Yeah, so it was really cool. Yeah, so yeah. Any other questions, guys, about Flash or anything? The character. See some of the Weather Wizard. Yeah.
You said that you were on John Doe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know any of the information of how that series was really going to end?
I don't. That was a very weird show as well. That was a show about this guy who basically just appeared and didn't know who he was, but he knew everything. He was very knowledgeable. he could answer anything. And my role was very small. And in fact, I'm getting a tattoo in reference of it. I have this tattoo that says "Life, Camera, Action" in German. I'm German, but I'm gonna get font down here. It says "How fast is lightning," which is actually my line, my one and only line from that show. And I was literally on camera faster than lightning. Like, it was fast roll. And so it's kind of a throwback to where things start and how fast things can change, you know, in life. And I honestly don't know. That show just ended very abruptly as well. And I was on another show called Cult, which is a CW show, and that too was almost too many layers to explain on TV. I mean, we were on set. It was basically a show within a show within a show. So the show was called Cult for us, but in the show, you watch the actors who are in a show called Cult. So and you're watching them all, and basically the show does things to get the people like outside of that world to do things in real life. And there was so many times we were on set and we had to go to the writers and I'm like, dude, I have no clue what you're talking about here. Like, I had no idea what was going on in the show, and everyone was like that. And I think that's the problem. The fans too. It was one of those shows you couldn't just pick up and watch. You need to start from the beginning and watch that whole thing through. And I think John Doe is kind of like that as well. It was just, you just didn't understand what the heck was going on. So.
I watched the series, and you can tell that it was meant to continue.
Well, I think they always have the anticipation for it to continue. Alcatraz was another one that was on. I thought a really cool premise in that, but it kind of started falling into villain of the week type thing, right? And if the storyline's not really going anywhere, or the audience isn't able to follow or connect with it, it's going to fall dead, right? So. Oh, you watched John Doe as well? Yeah. So. Oh, these guys are hardcore. They know more than I do. I don't even know. So. Yeah. Yeah, see, you guys know way more than I don't even know, but aside from John Doe, yeah, like you said, who knows? But there's many more shows now. I mean, it was filmed in Vancouver, and Vancouver is just killing it right now. They just got 13 shows, I think, this year. Some new ones, so yeah.
Okay, excluding Flash,
Mm-hmm.
you've played a lot of like supernatural characters, and I've seen a couple of those shows, obviously Supernatural, Sanctuary, but I've also seen like Cedar Cove and things like that. Doing those two different types of acting roles, like which are your favorite to do, more of the villains or? Absolutely, the villain. I'm not into acting. I don't even audition for normal guys. I refuse to play a normal guy. I guess Johnny Depp would be kind of the easy way to point it. I like playing characters, and that's all. That's why I'm in acting. I don't want to play me. You know, the worst thing I could do is get a series regular playing a normal guy. That was an awful thing, and I'll explain why, because I was just talking about this yesterday. I love playing cool characters where I get to do something different and you know, add versatility to. I'm not just, you know, playing a jock or playing whatever. And Cedar Cove, for you to know, is a Hallmark show. So when you go from Flash to Hallmark is like, you know, the worst thing that I played a bad guy on Hallmark, and basically it was a guy who forges ID. And so, you know, we was like, here's your passport and here's the money, and we got arrested and it was done. I can just imagine there's a lot of like people like my mom at home like, that was exciting. that was tense. But when I watch it, I'm like, really? Really? I noticed the whole reason I watched it was because Iva from Arrow is the lead character in Cedar Cove.
Yeah, and Andy McDowell's on there, and she's just amazing too. But Cedar Cove is I don't watch Hallmark.
That was the only reason I watched it, was someone was doing it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you. But it's a different show, but I would definitely, I mean, like I said, Flash is by far the most fun I've ever had on set. And me too.
From all your other characters.
I was surprised when I got cast for Hallmark too. So, yep.
Were you in Bates Motel?
Yeah, I play a smaller role on that too. It was season 2. I play a guy named Johnny V. Michael Eklund, who plays Slade, he's the guy with the white hair in season 2, his introduction was him taking over the mafia, and I'm in his introduction and stuff like that. So Bates Motel was really cool because it was one of the few shows that I actually watch and I love. Bates Motel. So I was really excited to get on that show and work with Michael Eklund's a friend of mine actually. So when I found out I get to do a scene with him and I got to meet Freddie and stuff, it was a really cool cast for a dark film, for a dark show. Yeah. I was like, you can grab it. I was like, oh yeah, I seen you were trying to. Yeah, thank you for that, by the way. Yeah. Yeah. So, any other questions? Yeah. Oh, sorry, you're just scratching. It's okay. Yeah, but.
All right, dealing with all the shows that are out there right now.
Yeah.
If you had a shot, or if you had a chance to say, okay, I want to be on the show, what show would you want?
I would do Gotham, and I would want to play the Joker episode. Yeah, it's the origin of those characters, and I actually heard that they're not doing a Joker episode. So that's why Gotham's a little bit different for me, because I don't know, I'm not associated with that show, so I don't know anything, but it's not a Batman show. It's a Jim Gordon show is what it is. I mean, you're having a Batman show without Batman and without Joker. So that's like watching a Superman show without Clark or Lex Luthor. It's just a weird concept to me. Yeah, well, but you know, they're doing the origin of Riddler and Penguin, which is cool, and I get that, but it doesn't feel like a Batman show to me. I mean, without Batman, right? So, right now, I mean, I seen the pilot; it's really cool. So I would like to be on that show because I'm a huge Batman fan. That's the one character show I went to, and Joker was always one of my coolest villains, or the coolest villains, and I would like to. I wouldn't want to portray the Joker now because you're not going to touch what Heath did. But I think that's the one way that if someone was going to redo the Joker, you could do it with a clean slate and not be compared to Heath because this is the origin. So I think that would be really fun. So, yeah. I think I'd probably be too old for it though because you'd have to be a kid, right? I mean, yeah. So. Thanks, man. Yeah, I got the evil face and shit, right? No, it's just, yeah, it's just. Well, and I think that's what actually helps me get roles is I was raised on horror films. I was a huge horror film fan, so I always loved the bad guys. So I would sit in the front of the camera and I'd just be like, do the sit and be like, right? And my mom comes in and be like, it's gonna get stuck like that. Just like, and so. Yeah, exactly, and you do, and it worked out for me, man. And you get to see it in the Weather Wizard. You get to see some of those cool fixes. So Weather Wizard's cool because it allowed me. It allowed me to use throughout my acting. I mean, you do these cool things in front of the mirror and you practice, and so Weather Wizard was an open slate for me to use a lot of cool little ticks and stuff, and you do these cool faces and you do these cool laughs, and people are like, well, yesterday someone asked me what's my evil laugh, and it's not an evil laugh. It's more of a like it's it's just I'm badass. I'm too cool to laugh type thing, right? And it's just like you're going to die. Like, it's just a weird thing. So it was cool to add all those elements and stuff, and it's good that my face didn't get stuck like that, and that it paid off. So yeah, helps me. Anything else, guys? Yeah. I'm sorry, I can barely. Oh, you're gonna get me fired. I'm like I said, Batman is kind of the go-to guy. My favorite superhero though is actually Iron Man. I'm a big fan of characters that look like they'll kick your ass. Iron Man does. I'm a huge Venom fan for villains. If I could play any villain of my choice, aside from Weather Wizard, it would be Venom, and I would hope that in the remakes they redo it the way that I think Venom should be done, not Topher Grace in a black outfit. Honestly, Venom in comic books is 3 times the size of Spider-Man. He's a mutant, he's crazy, and they just basically had a black version of Spider-Man, and I think that's why it was one of the worst superhero shows ever made. Spider-Man, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. And, you know, and so if they redid that, I'd build up. I'd go to the gym and then I'd do it. So yeah.
How did it feel to co-write, direct, and star in your upcoming film?
Yeah, you really know stuff. I like this girl. I'm gonna get you to represent me. Yeah, so I'm filming a comedy later this year. It's a feature film called The Perfect Pickup, and it was cool. I was raised with comedy. I used to do stand-up comedy. Actually, I did impersonations and stuff, and then I got into sketch comedy, and then I started writing short films and stuff. And so this is my first feature film that we wrote, and now we're going to be directing and starring it, which is weird. But comedy is really crazy, and the Perfect Pickup is very raunchy, crazy comedy. So some of the scenes we haven't filmed yet, but some of the scenes are going to be really hard to make it through with keeping a straight face. Like, I mean, I was saying this yesterday. There's a scene where, you know, it's basically it's a comedy about 4 guys who try to find the perfect way to pick up women, which doesn't exist. And these guys are sitting at a table in one scene and at a restaurant, and this hot waitress comes in this little mini skirt, and she leans over at the table behind him, and the buddy's like, hey man, look. And as I turn, she farts in my face. And then I taste it. And so to do this all, which is so ridiculous to think about. I mean, tasting a fart is just so dumb. But to do it with a straight face, where it's the opposite of straight face. Like, I have to be just petrified, and then they're all like laughing. So when you're on camera, and someone even goes like that, right? You bust out laughing, right? Like, and so when they're all busting out laughing, I just get farted in the face, and I have to be like petrified. I think it's gonna be one of the hardest things, literally, that I've ever filmed on camera. So it's gonna be interesting. But so I don't know. Maybe down the road I'll get to meet you again, and I'll let you know how it was. Yeah, we'll have a blooper reel for sure. So very long one. Yep.
So we all have our like geek out moments, like there's like a show, or like what's your show? Like if you could binge watch something.
I'm a Walking Dead guy. Yeah, I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. I was mentioning this yesterday. If they could even cast me as a zombie, I don't care. Kill me off. I just want to be part of that show. So, and I heard that they might be moving it to Vancouver. So, who knows? Sorry, Atlanta. Still, yeah, but sorry.
I was about to say, okay, so I didn't know this, so you usually say, how did you lose the trash talk?
You know what? It was different. I felt so bad because I just met Brad too, right? So I'm like sitting there, like I didn't know. Trash talking, you usually know the person, right? Like, and you can I don't know Brad besides VR Troopers and that he's unemployed. So I was trying my best with what I had, and then when someone threw out, you know, Firefly, Browncoats, and I'm a real close friend with Jewel State. So that was like, oh, there's an avenue I can do. But so I lost it because I didn't know Brad, and I didn't have much artillery going in there. I had about as much artillery as they gave me in the battle. Nothing. I'm a broken man. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you know, all that money was his, and he gave it to me. And now he's really unemployed. Now he's really broke. I'm joking. I didn't know he's a country singer star too. I didn't even know that. So I mean, I'm sitting next to Garth Brooks here, and I was just like, yeah. Like I said, I don't say. I do acting classes all the time, and recently I went into an acting class, and what they did on the very first day is they all had us all do a exercise called tornado. No pun intended. It's just tornado. And basically what it is you stand in front of everyone for 10 minutes and you do what you're absolutely petrified of. And so I sang for 10 minutes, a cappella, and I was like shaking at the end of this thing, and you probably hear it in my voice. So, you know, I was like, and it's funny because it reminded me, I sang Garth Brooks because I was raised in the country, so I sang a Garth Brooks song, and no, I'm not going to sing for you today, and which is really weird because, you know, I can talk in front of people, whatever, but you know, when it comes to singing, it's immediate. I'm in high school again, you know, hide and curl up, and yeah, it's really crazy. So, which is weird because when I did Faces West and I won those 7 out of 8 events, I won singing for one of those. I don't know what the hell's going on in my life. Yeah, sorry. That's all right. Camera still rolling? Actually, you know what? It's hard to pick because I love X-Men. I'm a big X-Men guy. I'm a huge Venom guy, so I like Spider-Man. I have to say both because they both have things that I love. Batman's on DC, X-Men and Spider-Man on Marvel, and I got to meet Stan Lee a couple times. Awesome guy. And like I said, it's really hard for me to just pick one because Spider-Man's my favorite, of them, but then Iron Man as well, and that's Marvel and DC. So I don't have just one favorite. I really don't. I'm a huge comic fan. So, and I was talking to my agent. They were. I was like, the best role I could possibly get is a supervillain, and within 3 months we had Flash, which is very cool. Very blessed. So, what do you think, DC or Marvel? Trick question.
She asked me, and she was like, no, he's gonna choose Marvel.
Yeah. Well, you guys have like a little private side bed going on over there. They're like, oh shit, here's your $5. It was like, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's okay. So, we have about 10 more minutes, guys. Anything? I mean, anything you guys want. I mean, I'll literally talk about it. I don't care. I mean, yeah, but.
Since you're a huge Batman fan, you're on Flash. Out of the 2 spandex suits, which one would you rather be walking around in?
Oh, Lisa. Batman, man. Batman's a pretty badass outfit. Grant Gustin, actually, when he was in the Flash outfit, thank you guys so much. Enjoy the day. Yeah, thank you. Flash, when he was wearing, Grant Gustin was wearing his outfit when they first made it. It was like the old Batman when it was kind of attached to the head, so he couldn't really move his head sideways and stuff. And he was saying that when they first started, I think they fixed it now. It was pretty uncomfortable, but I remember him on set, and it was just a long process, and it was monotonous. So just knowing that, if I had to go through that, I'd want to do the Batman suit.
His suit compared to Adam West's Batman suit.
Like Flash's suit compared to Adam West's? Flash, man. I don't think anybody's picking the Adam West outfit, man, anytime soon. Man. I mean, that's like Dad's Halloween costume. I know. So, yeah, and I wouldn't pick Adam West. I just for fun, if you guys want, I can do something as the Weather Wizard if you want, just for fun. I don't usually do it unless it's a small crowd, just for fun. So basically, as you know, he's a Weather Wizard, and we'll just kind of do something really kind of cool. Why not? Camera's off. Not joking. No, I'm joking. So I'm just gonna kind of go around. You got me. You come in here with your guns. It makes you feel powerful. I understand, because that made me feel powerful too. But that night, when Star Labs blew, and our plane went down, and I woke up in the middle of the field, I knew that wasn't power. I now have the power of wind, the power of God. So tell me, can your gun stop God? Damn me! Guys, thank you so much for coming over. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. All right. And I don't sing in front of people either. All right. Enjoy the convention, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all that. Thank you so much.